world was young, the mountains green, no stain yet on the moon was seen.
Then with a crash came a great ringing shout. Ra, boom, ra.
3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the dark lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie.
It's talking about Tolkien, Ben.
It's talking about
the
Tolkien.
Only
man.
podcast other than Words About Books that you routinely appear on, and that is a true statement. I am Nate. You are Ben.
Are you jealous?
Let's do this.
Are you upset that I'm seeing other podcasts?
No, because you're not. I think that's all just. Made up. It's you know how reality is just a shared delusion, Ben. So like,
are you upset that I have become the Ken Jennings of Nuzzle House's 2 books, 1 cup? They can't get rid of me because I can't lose.
I don't know who that is, and I don't know.
You should. I mean, this is an old man thing. Like, Ken Jennings is the guy who won Jeopardy for like a season. Just kept coming back.
Oh, so you're cheating?
I'm not cheating.
Oh, this was after the.
I'm choosing objectively
the big controversy,
the best topic.
I guess Jeopardy wasn't even involved in that, were they? With rigging the game shows?
I have no idea. I haven't heard anything about this, actually.
There was a big controversy, I think in like the 50s, where game shows were found to be cheating, and some of them just got straight up canceled. A bunch of them had to like pay out money and like lawsuits. Because, like back then, that kind of shit was important to them.
Integrity mattered in game shows.
Yeah.
Some of those newlyweds had actually been wed for quite a long time.
Yeah, if these game shows don't have integrity, then my dumbass boomer children are going to grow up and destroy the world.
It was important to get that right.
Oh.
And they dropped the ball.
Shit. Yeah. Damn it. Well, we tried. Not really.
But speaking of dumbass boomer children, we get a lot of Merry and Pippin in this one.
Yeah.
I kid. I kind of kid. Yeah. So, do you want to kick this one off?
Flotsam and Jetsam.
Chapter 9.
A lot of Sam in the title. No Sam to be found anywhere in the chapter, Ben.
You miss your boy.
So, first things first, we, as in Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas, they want the story of how are Pippin and Merry here? Like, we were fairly sure you were alive, but like we didn't expect to find you inside the ruined keep of our enemy. That was a little and just like drunk and hanging out. But here they are, and they're like, you know what? I can tell you that story, but first, let's get some food. So they go get some food, and they're like, all right, can we get that story now? Yeah, but first, let's smoke a little bit. Mm-hmm. And this is where they talk about the pipe weed. They didn't talk about it in quite as much detail last chapter. You might have jumped the gun, Ben. That's okay.
No, I've been sitting on that for most of this book. I've been very anxious to discuss Saruman's pipeweed imports.
It's really, really weird that Saruman has pipeweed and it's stamped from the Shire. That's weird, right? Like, he draws attention to it a few times while he's telling the story.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like they draw attention to it in the movies because in the movies pipeweed is marijuana, I guess.
I know. The devil's lettuce.
It's very funny. People go cross-eyed when they smoke it. They act stupid. Like, yeah.
It's very obviously tobacco. I think he even straight up calls it tobacco at one point.
Yeah. I'm trying not to immediately go off on Peter Jackson's adaptation because people don't like it when I do that. But
look, I think it's fine for what it is. But rereading the book, I like the books more. And I didn't think I was going to say that.
No.
but like I really liked a lot of the parts that he had to cut out so the movie wouldn't be like 20 hours total for the whole trilogy.
The only thing I'll say is I think it was a little controversial even at the time to completely cut out Saruman's death. And now I know that gets put in the extended editions, but to completely...
People were complaining about even cutting out Tom Bombadil, but that was prior to seeing the movies. I think most people were like, I guess the pacing had to be that way.
Yeah, Tom Bombadil... Yeah. To end the first movie where they wanted to end it, they really didn't have time for the Barrow Downs and all that stuff. But in the theatrical release of Lord of the Rings, Saruman's death is never handled. Treebeard wrecks Saruman's shit, and then you never see what happens. The Palantir's just there. In the books, obviously, we deal with Saruman. He does not die right here. He does not get stabbed by Wormtongue and fall off a tower and land on a wheel, and the wheel turns and his face goes down into the mud. I mean,
and then
if
Peter Jackson walks out on set and says, "Damn, he is dead."
No, he just slaps the corpse
dead.
a little.
He is not coming back, guys.
I do not want you to expect to see the scouring of the Shire.
Yeah, it's not happening, guys. Okay, he's dead.
He's really dead. So, and then Legolas shoots
and then he goes inside the tower and he strangles Wormtongue on camera.
No, Legolas shoots Wormtongue.
Just in case anyone thinks. Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Legolas shoots Wormtongue from like 300 feet. He shoots straight up 300 feet and shoots Wormtongue.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you would be rolling, not even at disadvantage. I think that's just out of maximum.
I don't even think you have an angle on him.
Cheating.
I think you got to back all the way up Legolas, but he's Legolas. He can
I think he's cheating.
So
what he should have done is shot arrows into the tower and then use those as grips, and he can climb up them.
Yeah.
And then judo kick Wormtongue right off the tower.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil the whole scouring of the Shire because we'll get to it. But if you're somebody who's never read the books, I guess I would imagine if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, you've probably heard that in the books, when they go back to the Shire, they find it has been taken over by evil humans led by a mysterious figure named Sharky Man. And
Sharky Man. It's been hinted at. In the last book, Sam looked into the mirror and he saw like, oh, what the hell are they doing there? They they tear down the old mill. They took away our traditional values. Now they're bringing in the city.
They're bringing in all these immigrants, all these big people from outside.
Yeah.
But don't you worry.
Disgusting.
Because Aragorn, when he becomes king, he shuts those borders. That's one of the things he ran on. That's a favor he did to the Shire. He keeps everyone out.
Keeps the Shire free of immigrants.
The Shire's for the hobbits. But all that problematic stuff aside, Peter Jackson had a problem, of course, and Tolkien has a very similar problem, in all fairness. The book has like 1 million endings. It just never stops resolving.
And the movie has a whole bunch, and you're just like, okay.
Yeah, they're like, okay, so now at this point, now that we've Aragorn's kissed Arwen and everybody bowed to the hobbits, and that really felt like the end. They go back to the Shire.
You have to go back to the Shire.
And that really feels like, do we want to start Act 4 at that point?
Yeah, we're now into the next movie.
Yeah. So they avoided that, and I think they had to, I guess. I don't know. Maybe this is probably best saved for when we actually talk about the chapter, but like they're setting up the Scouring of the Shire right now. That's why there is so much attention spent on the pipeweed. That's why Aragorn finds it so ominous that Saruman would have had this.
Yeah, how would he have imported it across like several empty countries between here and the Shire?
He goes to great lengths to make sure that the crop it came from was like last year's crop. So this is not just like pipeweed he's stockpiled. This is recent pipeweed, which means he's had recent dealings. He's had dealings with the Shire since people have been out looking for Frodo in the ring.
Yeah. And that means Saruman might get a redemption arc because he is going to ultimately kill a Sackville Baggins. Pretty sure that's a good deed. Maybe erases some of these bad deeds, right?
Yeah.
Also, this is when we learned that this entire book, from the death of Boromir to now, it's been 9 days.
It is funny because
This is a fucking long. This is a long week.
Pippin and Merry don't know how long it's been, and they ask Aragorn what the date is, and he says it's March 30th by Shire reckoning.
Fuck. What year?
Yeah, you got a little ahead of me on this one, so I got to catch up to my notes. But it is funny because there's also like a footnote, one of the only footnotes in the entire book. For every month in the Shire calendar has 30 days. So
wow, look at them having a better calendar system than Julius Caesar.
He even...
I'm glad he's dead.
I also would have stabbed him on the steps of the Senate.
Yeah. Look at you, superstitious asshole, only putting 28 days in February. It throws everything off.
Yeah.
Stab!
Pippin obviously thinks it's been like a year. They also...
Dude, I was like, it's gotta have been like at least like 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe. No, 9 days. Not even a week and a half fully.
Before they specified 9 days, I was sitting there like, yeah, how long have they been chasing them? And honestly, yeah, it's only been 9 days because you have like every day of the trip.
Yeah, they ran for what, like 3 or 4 days. Then they found the rider, and then
Helm's Deep was
to
one
set out
night.
For Helm's Deep. Yeah, Helm's Deep. It wasn't even the full night either. They were planning on fighting on the Fords of Isen, and then they're like, "Oh, I guess we got to go to Helm's Deep and get in there like now."
But yeah, they also comment that Merry and Pippin have grown. This was the part your dad told you about that you did not know. That they drink the ant water and they grow. I believe that's also hinted at in an extended scene where they drink the water and a nearby tree.
Don't try and give movie Pippin and Merry like development. They're comic relief idiots.
Well, if I remember the scene correctly, and I'm not going to go back and rewatch it to check,
we'll rewatch it eventually after we're done with the books, probably.
I didn't say that. I didn't agree to that. So they...
Well, you said we might want to, so that's more content for the content mill. We're just churning it out, Ben.
It only really helps me if it's like a book I don't have to read. That is the most time-consuming part of the podcast, you know? Like, only if that gets me out of reading stuff for Words About Books does that really help the content mill. Otherwise, it's just effort, and that's not what I'm about.
What you can do is you can read a book, and then you can put Peter Jackson on the background. 9 hours later, you've read a book, and you've been in proximity of a movie.
I do wonder if I could race the movies with the books. Could I listen to them at a fast enough speed to listen to the book as fast as I could watch the movie? But anyway. There's an extended scene. Pippin starts drinking the water, and Merry notices that Pippin's getting taller. And Pippin's like, I've always been taller. And Merry's like, no, I'm the tall one. Everybody knows that I'm the tall one. And then he starts drinking it, and Pippin tries to stop him from drinking it because
they're actually going to have to look.
They're jealous
at their heights now.
about they're jealous about who's going to be taller, so they're fighting over who gets to drink more of this ant water. Of course, in the book there is no other food, so they would have
Yeah.
had to drink the ant water.
Sorry, Mary, you have to die because
Yeah.
I want to be taller. Yeah, I guess Mary is slightly taller than Pippin in this shot that I have of them side by side.
But the
By
weird,
like an inch, maybe.
yeah, that's very important to them. The weirdest thing about it, hands down,
That's when you're sure.
I think, is that they start getting scooped up by a tree that's like squeezing them for drinking its water. And then the scene just kind of ends. Like that's just supposed to be funny, and then it ends.
So they grow like immediately. Like they drink a little bit of the water and they're like Mario. Like they get the mushroom and he powers up.
You don't see him grow because he hasn't grown, but yes.
Wow, you're looking taller, but I'm not.
Well, Gimli comments that they look taller. And there is a whole section where Merry and Pippin complain that, yes, for 9 whole days, and I actually, in my note on it, had written like survived for, I accidentally wrote weeks on magic food, where they talk about all we had to eat was magical ant water that does nourish you and does not leave you hungry, but like it's not the right kind of full. And lembas bread, not much better. So yes, for 9 days we were forced to eat nothing but manna from heaven. And we have grown taller, we look younger, we are thriving. But guys, I found the bacon. So now we can finally throw away this fairy crap and we can start eating goddamn red meat.
Age of Man. For a reason, Ben. For a reason. You think an elf isn't going to take the opportunity to eat bacon? He'll probably like pretend like he's not going to, but he'll sneak it later.
And there's a whole thing where
bacon,
where Gimli's like, "Oh my god, I lost my pipe," and he's like, "Saruman doesn't have any. He doesn't have like a pipe room, does he?" And they're like, "No, we didn't find the pipe room. He probably does have a pipe room, but we didn't find it." And so what you're gonna have to do, I guess we're just gonna have to share. Puff, puff, pass. You know what I'm saying? But fortunately,
luckily, your boy
Pippin brought a spare pipe.
He's got a spare pipe.
Never used. Didn't really know why he brought it. Didn't bring a map.
Didn't know. He still thought that the first mountain he saw, that's Mount Doom. Journey over. But he did bring a second pipe, even though he didn't have enough pipe weed at the time. He was out of pipe weed and had 2 pipes.
Pocket full of elven whey bread and 2 pipes. That's what he's got.
He came prepared. The
hobbits are way funnier in the book, to me.
I also like the interactions. We'll get to it next book, or next... No, later in this chapter. Oh, I can't wait. Pippin and Gandalf's reunion.
Pippin?
I laughed out loud reading that one.
God, I'm guessing it's because the movie has to sell you on a couple of main arcs, and it's kind of like hanging it on Sam and Aragorn, and they don't, like, everybody else just has to be kind of in service to those stories because they don't have enough time to develop like every character. But yeah, every character has like distinct relationships. Like, and Legolas, I don't know why they decided to make him so goddamn awesome in the movies, because
that beats me.
He's such a nerd in the books. Like, he is good at everything. Like, he's good at all the physical stuff, but
he spent like hundreds of years inside of one forest.
They're all smoking, and Legolas is like, "This is gross. I can't believe you guys all do this." Come on. Come on, like, fine. I guess I'll go look at the trees. He's such a buzzkill. It's like, look, if you don't want to be in the smoke hut, get out of the smoke hut, Legolas. You don't have to be a part of this. It's like, you just don't understand the appeal of surrounding yourself with a cloud of smoke. It's like, have you tried it? Super addictive. It's like one of the most addictive substances on the planet. Take this pipe. You can't get cancer, Legolas. That's the perfect thing.
You can't.
He can smoke.
God.
He can smoke.
Bro.
Right?
You got cheat codes over there. Use them.
The only reason I quit is because it kills you.
The only reason I never started is because it kills you. You know how much I'd be smoking right now if it couldn't kill me?
Do you think a cup of coffee
More
is
than
good?
0?
Do you think a cup of coffee really hits the spot sometimes? You should try a cigarette. It's
goddamn right.
Fucking amazing. But you can't. You can't, kids. You can't do that. Because it'll literally
say
kill
no to
you.
drugs, kids.
Yeah.
Words About Books is
you have to say no to
you
drugs.
go to for your.
They're amazing. That's the problem with drugs. Is they're amazing, and if you do them, then when you have to be normal, you'll be like, "Wow, this sucks."
Yeah, it's a problem with donuts too. I'd be eating those all the time if I were an elf. I assume elves can't get fat, right?
I've never seen a fat elf, except that's actually a joke in a Dimension 20 season. There's Galir, the fat middle-aged elf. Galir, yeah.
That sounds like some sort of endocrine problem. Like, oh, sorry, I have Gleer, guys.
He's Galir. He found out his daughter was not his daughter when she turned into a tiefling.
Ouch.
Like, she started growing the horns and the tail. And he got divorced. And since then, he's been living in strong tower luxury apartments. He's got, like, bean juice on his shirt.
This sounds made up almost.
I mean, it is. Like, I don't know how much thought he put into the character, but then the character, of course, became one of those NPCs that the party adopts. And no matter how many times the DM tries to kill this dude, they find a way to bring him back. So I'll send you a link. It's a very funny bit.
Okay.
Oh, I did like when Pippin talks about his pipe. I highlighted this. He says, half a moment. Putting his hand inside the breast of his jacket, he pulled out a soft little wallet on a string. I keep a treasure or two near my skin, as precious as capital R rings to me. Here's one, my old wooden pipe, and here's another unused one.
That's what he was going to give to Garlack or whatever his name was. Grishnak?
Grishnak. My precious. You want to find
when he starts doing the weird, like, I know what you want.
Dude, there's another line about Grishnak in this chapter, and it still doesn't sound better.
No, it does not.
But yeah, so Pippin is making ring jokes again. Ring kills people, yeah. Pippin. It's not funny.
Yeah, and I believe Gandalf specifically told you to shut the fuck up about rings, Pippin. Believe he said don't mention rings, Pippin. Gandalf's gonna break his foot off in your ass, son.
Gandalf's gonna break his foot off.
So they also mention luck and skill. Like, it was lucky that you had the opportunity to cut your ropes, and it was skill that you took advantage of it. And they mention luck a little more in the next few chapters. Is there any sort of divine intervention going on, or is that actually just luck? Like, just a little like poking and prodding. It's the Futurama bit. When you've done things right, people won't be sure you've done anything at all.
I definitely think that's how Tolkien thinks about providence, I guess. Okay. I don't know if he intended that to be divine stuff, but I will tell you...
But I can say it is, as a Tolkien scholar now.
I think you could make the argument. I mean, the argument never stops, of course, and that's something Tolkien was aware of, and that's why God is purposely not going to show his hand. That's why the emphasis is always placed on his angels being like the gods figure out that they can't keep directly intervening. They can't just keep saving people. They need to teach them how to save themselves.
I, for one, am willing to let them save me at least once.
They're not
can
great
we,
at
please?
It's
that's look. I'm willing to sacrifice a continent if like we can get some like deliverance from evil over here.
What did that guy from Blizzard say? You think you do, but you don't.
But then he gave us what we wanted. We got WoW Classic. So like, you're welcome, Blizzard. You got my money for a few months.
Well, I'll tell you what. In my case, he was right. I thought I did, and then I played it in modern times with Google and YouTube, and
I had fun.
It's been maxed to shit. And
I never played it during the time that. Yeah,
it's not the same.
No, I had fun. Ran around the world, did some quests. There's that one where you have to like not be seen by the Scarlet whatever priests. Like it was like as stealthy as that game could possibly get without any stealth mechanics.
Yeah,
I had a good time. I mean, I wouldn't play it again. Like
that's kind of the thing.
They got my like 2 or 3 months, and
it used to be a game that was so addictive it ruined lives, and then it got your 2 or 3 months. So, yeah, that's the thing there. I wanted it to ruin me, but it didn't.
Well, let's go to Lord of the Rings online, Ben.
But I was going to say the luck thing. You keep mentioning luck, and I'm surprised you have not mentioned one of the signature mechanics of a halfling in D&D.
Oh yeah, if they get a crit 1, they can re-roll, but you will probably forget you have that ability a lot, so you actually won't re-roll it, and you will just crit fail.
That's just you, buddy. I always remember.
So we Aragorn and company now learn that the Dark Lord would have received information from Grishnak during that time.
But you did not know about Grishnak. He shuddered and said no more, leaving Mary to tell of those last horrible moments. The pawing hands, the hot breath, and the dreadful strength of Grishnak's hairy arms.
And his 6-pack. And his perfectly taut butt. His powerful yet comforting grip. The central things he said before he was shot with those arrows.
I think Grishnak in the movie is that's the one who gets stepped on by Treebeard.
And they would have information now, and they would probably look towards Isengard for the ring. We learned that the Ents who are like trees are called Huorns.
I actually don't know how to pronounce this one. I have always
said...
That's
how it is.
I have always said Huorns.
Huorns.
But in your...
manga.
To your credit, there is no accent mark on this. And Tolkien often did include an accent mark when you're supposed to say it Hugh.
Well, they are extra strength pissed off at Saruman.
They are also...
they're that angry presence that Legolas felt.
They are also like the original Slender Man.
They move when you're not looking.
They move when you're not looking.
Suddenly you're in a forest.
Imagine this, guys. Imagine one day you look outside your window and the trees are where they're supposed to be. And then an hour later you turn around and the trees are right next to your window. You can't see eyes, but you know they're looking at you. You're inside the forest now. And then there's a knock at your door. And
my plan is to piss myself.
You ask who it is.
Hide inside my dryer.
You ask who it is, and no human voice answers. You just hear the sound of branches creaking in the wind. That's a Huorn.
Why hasn't anyone done this for I feel like this is a horror story that needs to be written.
It's written like a horror story. If you have any amount of sympathy for the orcs at all.
I don't. They're just monsters to be slain, Ben.
No, if you have any amount of sympathy.
How much EXP do I get when I kill one?
Oh,
Is there any gold in their pocket?
well, let's talk about what Ents can do.
Well, while you look for that, I can let you know that southerner they talked about in the first book who was in Bree, he was a spy of Saruman for sure and may have also been working with the Black Riders. I think we're pretty sure he was working with the Black Riders.
Oh, let's talk about him real quick.
Yeah, he's got like slanted eyes or something.
Okay,
Man.
let's not focus so much on that.
Let's avoid that. Actually, let's look somewhere else, please.
So Pippin describes before we get into what the Ents do. This is true. Pippin describes Saruman's host marching out of Isengard, and he describes it as just this insanely long procession. They're not moving super fast, but there is just row after row of armed soldiers. It takes like an hour for them to pass by. And he describes what they look like. I saw the enemy go, endless lines of marching orcs, and troops of them mounted on great wolves. And there were battalions of men, too. Many of them carried torches, and in the flare I could see their faces. Most of them were ordinary men, rather tall and dark-haired and grim, but not particularly evil-looking. But there were some others that were horrible. Man-high, but with goblin faces. Sallow, leering, squint-eyed. Do you know, they reminded me at once of that southerner in Bree. And Aragorn says, I thought of him too. We had many of these half-orcs to deal with at Helm's Deep.
Every time I was killing someone, I thought of that southerner from Bree and how much I hated him. So was that southerner a half orc?
That seems to be the implication, yeah.
Huh.
Because I read some of this to Shai because Shai enjoys getting the secondhand Lord of the Rings, as much as she says she doesn't. And she was surprised that half orcs are mentioned in Lord of the Rings. And we've talked about this before. He refers to the creation of half orcs as breeding. The blending of men and orc would be a black evil, as Treebeard says. They're constantly hinting at the reality here that perhaps non-consensually orcs and humans were forced to mate and breed under
Why
Saruman.
Would you say that? What if we find Grishnak hot?
Grishnak is a full-blooded orc of Mordor.
Yeah. Goddamn right he is.
It was the other guy with a harder to remember name, Ugluk, who was of
the fighting Uruk-hai. Hoorah!
And yeah, I think a lot of people this is another thing where I'll point out the influence it's had on D&D and kind of then the influence D&D has had on the rest of fantasy, where and I think it was a Patreon bonus where we talked about the player's handbook, but the newest edition of the player's handbook has removed half orcs and half elves. And I think it's because D&D was initially very much based on Lord of the Rings, and it had half orcs and half elves, and a half orc was a hated creature the way it is in this book. It was possibly
as it should be.
Always.
How much experience do I get when I kill one?
It was always like a shameful thing to be a half orc. There was no way like loving unions produced half orcs, and a half orc could never be fully trusted because orcs are evil by nature, I guess. And in D&D lore, they had Grumpsh, who they have softened a lot recently, who orcs and elves have always hated each other. Orcs kill elves for sport. Like the proper way to sacrifice to Grumpsh is to sacrifice an elf on an altar. They kind of got rid of that now, which might be for the best. I think they're trying to get like kids into it now. So they don't want to have like horrible stories of genocide, crimes against humanity, and abuse baked into the fundamental lore.
I mean, that's baked into the fundamental lore of, our country. We just ignore it. So,
True.
like, we're good.
True.
We're good. Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is we should ban Lord of the Rings from schools.
I agree. Because it will get more people to read it.
Get working on that, Republicans. I don't think they will, though, because I think they think that everybody thinks Lord of the Rings says what they're saying. It's like the Bible in that. But then, after this brief commentary on half-orcs, Tolkien never really elaborates on that. And I got to say, that bothers me. Like, the orc problem bothers me. I have sympathy for the orcs. But even if you make a case that, like, the orcs are just evil by nature, it's irredeemable or whatever. And Tolkien did not make that argument. He said they were redeemable. It was just highly unlikely. A half-orc surely deserves a shot, right? Like, shouldn't we have some sympathy for the half-orcs? Like,
Nah, otherwise we'd call him half human.
ooh, that kind of hits hard. It's kind of hard, man. But I wish, that's the only thing I wish he'd examine more, because he examines everything else a lot. So Pippin decides to tell these guys, so you've all seen an Ent, right? You know what you haven't seen? An Ent angry. Because if you had, you'd be dead. And here's why. Treebeard put us down and went up to the gates and began hammering on the doors and calling for Saruman. There was no answer except arrows and stones from the walls. But arrows are no use against Ents. They hurt them, of course, and infuriate them, like stinging flies, but an Ent can be stuck as full of orc arrows as a pincushion and take no serious harm. They cannot be poisoned, for one thing, and their skin seems to be very thick and tougher than bark. It takes a very heavy axe stroke to wound them seriously. But it takes a great many axe strokes, and any man that hacks at an Ent never gets a chance of a second blow. A punch from an Ent fist can crumple up iron like tin. Their fingers and their toes just freeze onto rock, and they tear it up like bread crust. It was like watching the work of great tree roots in 100 years all packed into a few moments. And then he goes on to describe the Ents basically just like kind of growing their fingers into the stone and pulling it apart and just like punching their way through the gates and the walls, boring through stone in seconds.
Saruman, he sees this. He was watching his boys head on off to fight in the game, fighting Uruk-hai. When the gates start coming down, and he assesses the situation, he picks up his wizardly staff. He turns around and he legs it as fast as he can into the tower. He wants no part of that.
I think he has not much grit. Not much plain courage alone in a tight space without a lot of slaves and machines and things, if you know what I mean. Very different from old Gandalf. Pippin shit-talks Saruman a lot, which I found funny because obviously Saruman could just destroy Pippin. 1v1, you know? Like 1v1 me, bro. But in a way, I guess Pippin is more courageous than Saruman. If only because he has far less understanding of the danger he's in at all times.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to Mount Doom. That's just what, like 30 miles? We'll get there in like a week. Easy.
But there's another...
All right, there's a mountain. Let's just climb up there.
Well,
no, Pippin.
There's that Hobbit resilience, though. It's like Pippin goes through super traumatic experiences, and then he's just like, oh, God, Pip, we never should have left the Shire, you know? And Pippin's like, hey, is that tobacco?
Fuck yeah, and
bro.
bacon.
It ain't that bad here.
Yeah.
No, they bounce back quick. I'm sure his nightmares are truly disturbing. But Aragorn,
Why does this orc have the face of Boromir? What's going on?
what are you doing with your big hairy arms? Oh, God. But Aragorn pushes back on this, and he does explain that Saruman was once very smart, very intelligent, very eloquent. He has a way about
Kind of
him.
sexy, in that old wizard way.
He has a voice that just makes you listen to him. And
the next chapter is called The Voice of Saruman, so this is important, Pippin. Pay attention this time.
The implication being that Saruman has a magical ability to convince people with his words. And
there's only 3 people who might be able to resist that, Ben.
Gandalf, Elrond, and Galadriel, who are often marked among the wise. I think Aragorn could resist it for sure.
Well, it sounds like also the fact that he's full of shit going in, like he did just send an army of orcs to kill you. That kind of helps.
Yeah,
so it's harder to be swayed when you're like, but you tried to kill me.
Pippin counters that that shit didn't work on Treebeard because Treebeard was pretty mad. But there is a moment where Saruman tries to talk to the Ents, and it does seem to be kind of working, but then Treebeard immediately gets hold of the situation. Now, Treebeard is stated many times by many different people who would know the oldest living being in Middle Earth.
Other than Tom Bombadil?
I don't think Tom Bombadil counts.
He doesn't count. Okay.
Well, I think the
forest is named for Treebeard, so
Tom
he is Fangorn.
We don't know what the hell Tom Bombadil is, but if Tom Bombadil is a spirit or a Maiar or something of that nature, if he is a spiritual being, not an incarnate being, if he was created by Iluvatar directly rather than born of nature, then he would be technically older. But I think what is meant by this is that Treebeard is the oldest of the, I don't want to say mortal because he is immortal, he lives forever if he's not killed, but he's the oldest creature that was born. The oldest incarnate being, I guess Tolkien would say.
Yeah, he's Tom Bombadil, not Tom Bombadil.
That's right. And then Saruman has a little bit of a final girl moment because his speech also doesn't work on Quickbeam, who I cannot believe I forgot about Quickbeam. I fucking love this guy.
Yeah. The hell is wrong with you?
How
dare you?
More people need to be talking about Quickbeam. So Saruman's running away in the chaos, and Quickbeam spots him. And he shouts, "Tree killer, tree killer." And he sprints, covering the entire courtyard of Isengard in seconds. Saruman's already at the door, and still Quickbeam almost catches him and is going to literally strangle him to death for what he did to those trees that he very poetically convinced me were living creatures. That I, in a way I'd never thought of before. And
that's why you shouldn't be vegan. You shouldn't eat vegetables. Only other animals, guys.
I think you can eat vegetables. I think what really pisses the trees off, I think they know on some level, yes, some trees need to be there's a cycle of nature here, but it's when you go totally out of balance and you take way more than you need.
You log the entire forest and then feed it into your industrial machine.
Yeah. That's when
then you complain about global warming and you're like, maybe Brazil can just do us a solid and not log anymore.
Maybe I got mine, you don't get yours. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But Saruman just barely, like a final girl in a horror movie, just barely manages to shut the door before Quickbeam can throttle him. And then there is a horrific description of one Ent, and we're going to talk about this because he deserves to be remembered. Beachbone,
Yeah.
who is
Saruman turns on the jets.
he's sprayed with napalm,
Yeah.
some liquid fire, and burned like a torch. A horrible sight. And that's when Pippin's like, so I thought the Ents were mad before, but after Beachbone got killed, there was a kind of Super Saiyan-esque moment, and the Ents go apeshit. They start tearing down buildings, hucking stones up at Orthanc. Orthanc is fortunately smooth enough that they can't get their root fingers into it to pull it apart. It's
And
hewed of
some kind of magic.
yeah, there's some magic in the stone, or it was crafted magically, and so they're just like tearing shit apart and just doing whatever they can. They're just throwing things at the tower. And Treebeard eventually is like, okay, look, one of you is going to put a hole in that tower, and that guy's going to get out through it. We need the tower is actually good where it is. Leave the tower. Like form a ring around it. We're going to get some guys here. He handles the situation. So Saruman is finally captured.
And then while we're watching, we're going to just start digging some trenches. Dig some trenches. Gonna wash all this away like it never even happened.
Yeah, in the movie they do that. Release the river, and he tears down a giant dam, and it just floods. Orthanc.
And this one they have to dig trenches to redirect the river.
Well, in this one, their goal is different. So Saruman, yeah, he goes up when he gets into the tower. He turns on his machines, and they start spitting fire and stuff. And so the Ents actually do a quick bit of civil engineering. The Ents are really not stupid.
No. And if you call them stupid, they'll crush you.
But they build a system of like earthworks to channel the River Eisen into the machines to wash them all out. That stops the machines. It's a controlled flood. They then dam up the flow that they've created and set the river back on course, and it flows with pollution for a little bit, but then eventually starts running clear again. And so the Ents are like literally doing river restoration in real time. I don't know why I think that's so interesting, but it is not something that ever, as the movies,
they're going to do it again.
Yeah.
Before Gandalf leaves, he's like, he might have some hidey hole, so just keep flooding it until it doesn't drain out.
Yeah.
We don't want him to escape through some sort of secret tunnel underneath the... Or find those tunnels. Use your tree powers to find them. So, before the flood comes, Merry and Pippin are just kind of like bored inside of Isengard. Like, well, now what? And up rides a horse. Pippin looks up. He's like, "Oh my god, is that Gandalf? I thought he was dead." Gandalf's like, "Oh, shut up, Pippin. I did not come back to life to deal with your crap. Show me where Treebeard is." He calls him a fool of a took. Like the first words out of his mouth, he's like, "Oh my God, Gandalf! I thought you were dead. Fool of a took. Go find Treebeard. I've got some business."
He halted. He halted just by us and looked down at us. "Gandalf," I said at last, but my voice was only a whisper. Did he say, "Hello, Pippin? This is a pleasant surprise"? No, indeed. He said, "Get up, you tomfool of a took. Where in the name of wonder in all this ruin is Treebeard? I want him quick."
Yeah, Pippin, I've got shit to do, and I'm not going to say that I died to get away from you, but like it was a nice perk. And here I am again. So,
My one regret is that when I died to save Frodo, I also saved you.
If we could have stood on that bridge together, that would have been the way.
Gandalf is Gandalf is more upset to hear that Pippin's alive than that Boromir is dead. He's like, so yeah, Gandalf meets with Treebeard. They go away and they discuss some stuff. Presumably, it doesn't say exactly what they discussed because Pippin couldn't hear it. They specifically went away from Pippin.
Yeah, we don't want Pippin to say stuff. You know that guy cannot keep a secret.
Afterward, Treebeard comes out and he says, well, I guess you guys aren't so hasty after all. I thought you were just telling me your social security number, your mother's maiden name, and your birth date, but it turns out you actually kept a secret or two. And wow, so I'm guessing that Gandalf real quick fills Treebeard in on the entire quest of the ring, where they're at, what they're doing, and what's going on with Rohan.
And we need your tree army to go to Helm's Deep.
It sure would be fucking cool, Treebeard. I'm not going to lie. It would be really fucking cool if when the sun rises, these orcs turn around and see a demon forest behind them. And Treebeard's like, I agree. The Huorns will help.
And anything else? There's one more note right at the end I have here about one more arrival, Ben.
Yeah, there's one guy who shows up just at the wrong time.
He's like, he like his mouth drops when he sees what happens, and he's like, I'm an emissary of King Theoden. Boy, you know what? I think I better just go. And they're like, nah. Gandalf told me all about you, Wormtongue.
Treebeard just rips him off his horse.
Yeah, he just picks him up off his horse. And he's like, all right, you got two options. You can either hang out with me or you can go into the tower. Either way, we're waiting for Gandalf and party to get here. It's not going to go well for you. And so Wormtongue is unfortunately going to die of a disease. Who knows what was in there? I think he gets like dysentery and organ trails himself to death.
But then Pippin is promoted to cultural ambassador.
That's right.
Treebeard has no idea what people eat, and he's supposed to...
And water. It worked really well for us.
They do ask, like, do you guys want, like, wine up there or anything? He's like, we have water. We have, like, really good water. What are you even talking about? And Pippin's like, okay, you're right. I don't think they need wine.
Yeah, more for me.
Yeah, Merry, get the wine. And yeah, so Merry and Pippin are in charge of laying out the feast for, I think 45 people show up. It's not the whole army. It's just like Theoden and probably his retainers and generals and whatnot. Pippin will go on to say that pipeweed is better after food. That's also true. Like a big meal and then a cigarette. I miss it.
And a big slab of bacon.
Yeah, God, you'll die so fast, but like... And then, of course, the chapter ends out with Aragorn figuring out that Saruman probably has infiltrated the Shire to get this tobacco, and he doesn't know what that means. He says that Wormtongues may be found in other houses than King Theoden's. If Saruman... They don't know. They assumed maybe that the spy in Bree, the half-orc man... I think initially they assumed he might be an agent of Sauron, but it is now looking like perhaps he was an agent of Saruman, and that Saruman had agents all throughout the Shirelands. But now Gandalf and Theoden are here. They have gone to meet with Treebeard. The company is all caught up. And next chapter, we are going to find what Theoden, Gandalf, and Treebeard have discussed and what they will be doing with Saruman. Spoiler, they leave him with Treebeard, and that's a bad idea. Treebeard not built for this. That's not in the movie either. Because again, instead of dying the most horrible of deaths, Saruman's like, let me out, and Treebeard's like, no, and he's like, but dude, I'm feeling really claustrophobic in here. And Treebeard's like, nothing should feel claustrophobic. Get the fuck out of here. And it's like, oh God, you sweet, sweet tree. You sweet, dumb tree. That's Flotsam and Jetsam.
Yeah.
I gotta say, if you have not read the books, or if you have not read them in a while, and you do not remember this chapter, I think I'd actually recommend rereading this one just for the description of the Ents fighting. It's kind of cool.
The shit talk on Pippin.
Yeah, that's also funny. But no, I was shocked at how like fearsome the Ents are in combat, and how genuinely horror movie terrifying the Huorns are. And I nobody ever does that with them. Not really. I guess there are some games and stuff that do like the haunted forest thing, but I don't know. There's just something about like a forest showing up where there shouldn't be a forest that is one of the most scary things I can imagine. Like if I looked, I know where the trees are in my neighborhood, and if I looked out and they weren't in the same spot, I'd be fucking terrified.
Yeah, I'm out.
But where do you go?
Depends. Am I surrounded?
I am in where I live. There's trees
myself
everywhere.
and
I got 2 bullets in this gun, one for the tree and one for me. But bullets don't hurt them. And you can't poison them. You need an axe and 12 guys who also have axes. And at least 11 of you are going to die.
Or at least 6 Boromirs, you know?
I bet 6 Boromirs could probably take a nut.
Yeah. That dude's jacked.
The road goes ever on and on, down from the door which began. Now far ahead the road is gone, and I must follow it, if I can, pursuing it with eager feet until it joins some larger way, where many paths and errands meet. And whither then, I cannot say.